We just heard the Swingin' Blue Jeans and their version of the song You're No Good, originally cut by Dee Dee Warwick in 1963 and then covered by the Swingin' Blue Jeans, who took it all the way to number 3 in their home territory of Great Britain, and it was popular enough just to squeak into the top 100 here in the U.S. Our guest today is author Peter Checksfield. He's written a number of books about the history of rock and roll. He's written books about the TV show Top of the Pops, and also the Tremolos, the Rolling Stones, the Hollies, and on it goes. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. Good to be back.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, you and I spoke before for my We Say Yeah podcast about Cliff Richard and the Shadows, because last year you had published a book on Cliff called The Shadows Years. And I remember at that time we were talking about the Beatles and Liverpool groups, and you said that your favorite band from Liverpool is not the Beatles, it's in fact the Swingin' Blue Jeans.
Yeah, maybe I was a bit unfair. I love them both equally. The Beatles, to me, up until Help, they couldn't do any wrong.
Right.
And Rubber Soul, perhaps. But I love the Beatles as a four-piece band, as a beat group with guitar, bass and drums, including some of the later stuff. Eleanor Rigby is a fantastic Paul McCartney solo record to me, something like that. But what I love about the Swingin' Blue Jeans, they always stayed a band pretty much.
Well, I know for me, when I got into the Beatles, they were kind of my gateway drug to all of the other British Invasion acts, and that's how I discovered Jerry and the Pacemakers and the Swingin' Blue Jeans, Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, etc. Was that the same kind of story for you?
Not really. I was born in 1963, so just when all this music started to kick off, really. But I've got a good memory, and it's probably in my DNA, literally. My parents bought a lot of these records, including Swingin' Blue Jeans, but the Beatles, Dave Clark 5, Rolling Stones, Manfred Mann, all these people. And I would have listened to them on the radio at the time and probably sat in front of the TV watching Ready, Steady, Go and Thank You Lucky Stars and Top of the Pops. So I sort of grew up with it, and I suppose I got more seriously into it my early teens, 13, 14, 15, and I got all the Beatles albums, and but I also got a Swingin' Blue Jeans collection, and Dave Clark 5, and all these people. So I sort of got into it all together pretty much, and also the 50s greats, Buddy Holly,
Sure.
Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry.
So when did you get the idea to put together a book just on the Swingin' Blue Jeans alone?
Very recently. It sort of crept up on me, really. I've done a few other books in a row. I did the Tremolos, which I was very pleased with because no one's written a book on the Tremolos, and Searchers, a few others. Jerry Lee Lewis, I did one on that, the Hollies. But I was going to do one on just about 6 or 7 of the bigger Liverpool groups, not the Beatles, but I'd probably cover the Searchers again, but Jerry and the Pacemakers, Swingin' Blue Jeans. But I just found I was getting more and more into the Swingin' Blue Jeans, and I just wrote, just up until about 1966. I thought, this got the makings of a book. And then I got in contact with all 3 surviving originals out of the 4. One of them died about 20 years ago, unfortunately. And they was very helpful. One I interviewed over the telephone, and he's not in very good health now. But the other 2 dug out loads of photos that they hadn't seen themselves for decades, and sent me those. So, it just crept up on me, and I'm really, really pleased with it because no one else is. I don't even thought of doing a Swingin' Blue Jeans book, and it's not selling fantastic, but I'm very, very glad I did it.
Well, I'm glad you did it too, because these are stories worth telling. And I had asked you, for the purposes of this interview, to pick out 3 songs that you felt would best represent the sound of the Swingin' Blue Jeans. So let's go through them. Let's start with the first one, and it's Hippy Hippy Shake.
Yeah, it was their biggest hit in the UK. It got to number 2. And it got to I think it was number 24 offhand in the USA. And that's without ever even visiting the country. And they was offered a string of shows. It might have been at the Apollo, one of his Dick Clark shows or something like that. And also the Ed Sullivan show. But their manager turned him down.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
said, no, we've got a tour of Denmark booked. And they missed the boat like that, which is unbelievable. It really is. So And that's why they wasn't on the Ed Sullivan Show and becoming bigger. You know, the Dave Clark Five, obviously Jerry and the Pacemakers, Billy J. Kramer, all these other people, and they missed the boat.
Yeah, but they're huge in Denmark. So
they are huge in Denmark, still huge in Denmark. Yeah, but yeah.
So how did they become aware of the song "Hippy Hippy Shake"? It's a Chan Romero song from 1959, and I know the Beatles did it in their set, but they never recorded a studio version of it.
They was already familiar with the Beatles performing it, but they hadn't really learnt the lyrics that well. But Norman Colk, who was a drummer, his girlfriend, she's later become a very famous actress over here, and it came Sue Johnston. Can't remember her maiden name, but they was dating for a few years. But she worked in Brian Epstein's office.
Oh, I see.
And she had, on the side, ordered these records for the Swingin' Blue Jeans, and she ordered a copy of the San Romeo original. And so although they'd heard the Beatles play it, they pretty much learnt it from the San Romeo original.
For goodness sake!
We're talking with author Peter Checksfield about his new book on the Swingin' Blue Jeans, which in fact is called Hippy Hippy Shake, the song we just heard. And when I say the Swingin' Blue Jeans to most rock and roll fans in the U.S., chances are you'll know that song more than any of the other ones we're about to discuss, including the song that is at number 2, I guess. Peter chose 3 songs that best represent the Swingin' Blue Jeans, and this one's interesting to me because Don't It Make You Feel Good was written by Hank Marvin and Bruce Welch of The Shadows.
Yeah, unlike the Beatles in particular, they later put down The Shadows, although Cry for a Shadow to me is a tribute to them. And a lot of other ones, they were a bit embarrassed, even if they did like the Shadows. But the Swingin' Blue Jeans were openly fans of the Shadows. And on their very first album, Blue Jeans Are Swingin', they actually covered 2 Shadows songs from the Shadows album at the time, Dance with the Shadows, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And they did That's the Way It Goes and Don't It Make You Feel Good. And good versions. They stick fairly closely to the Shadows template, but I picked Don't It Make You Feel Good because the main vocalist really was Ray Ennis. He sung on all the hits, but he had another the lead guitarist sung lead vocals on a few of them, which was Ralph Ellis, and he sung Don't It Make You Feel Good. And it's just a different voice. It's a bit like having I don't know, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, both great singers, but it's a great version.
We're talking with author Peter Checksfield about his new book on the Swingin' Blue Jeans called Hippy Hippy Shake. And before we get back into the Swingin' Blue Jeans, I wanted to get a little update on your Dave Clark 5 book, because I know
yes.
I know that you wrote it and it was done, and then all sorts of problems which were not unexpected.
I didn't even ask Dave Clark for assistance, and I didn't think I'd get any, but I did send him a copy, and I thought he might have, thought, oh, this is okay, I'll let it ride. But as soon as he got a copy, he stopped it. And it got great reviews for about 5 or 6 weeks. It was out there, and it got good reviews in Ugly Things magazine in the USA and Shindig magazine in the UK. Really rave reviews. But then suddenly, that's it. I had to drop it. But the Swingin' Blue Jeans, similar to the Tremolos, again, all surviving members, very, very helpful, sending me photos, and chatting to me on the phone or by email or whatever. So, I did really well this time. And as you would have seen in the book, there's a lot of photos of them in their pre-fame days, like at the Cavern or whatever, and I got those, from the drummer and one of the guitarists who both left, in the 60s and early 70s, and still hung on to this, and just literally one of them climbed up into the attic and looked at these for the first time in 50 odd years or whatever. So.
Well, let's talk about the last song that you chose, and it's a cover of a Dionne Warwick record.
Yeah, Don't Make Me Over, a Dionne Warwick song. It was actually the Swingin' Blue Jeans' last UK hit. It only got to number 31 in the early weeks of 1966. But obviously the Beatles and Cilla Black, they carried on their career. But the Swingin' Blue Jeans, along with the Searchers and certainly Jerry and the Pacemakers, Billy J. Kramer, the Foremost, by 1966, or the end of 65 even, their chart career was pretty much over, unfortunately. It just went, so out of fashion. But yeah, it's a lovely version. And it was the end of an era in a way, because shortly after the TV promotion of that, their lead guitarist, who I just mentioned, and also part-time singer, Ralph Ellis, quit the band, and that was the end of the classic four-piece lineup. And then gradually they changed, all throughout. But they really went out on a high, not necessarily a big commercial high, but a musical. I think it's a great version. Even Dionne Warwick, whenever she heard, I don't know, Cilla Black or Sandy Shaw covering her records, she was very critical of them, but she praised this at the time, even she thought it was great.
Wow.
So, which is something, yeah.
That's unusual. Well, maybe because it was a group and not another female singer that would have been her rival.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, and very different, and they're not obviously imitating her. So,
Peter, where can people go to pick up your book on the swingin' blue jeans called Hippy Hippy Shake?
Amazon, the largest bookshop in the world, really. And
okay,
but I've got a website. Just Google my name, Peter Checksfield, and you'll find it easy. And if you don't use Amazon or you can't find it anywhere in the world, just contact me and I'll help.
Well, I wish you all the best with this book. And again, it's called The Swingin' Blue Jeans, Hippy Hippy Shake, by our guest today, Peter Checksfield. Peter, thanks so much for appearing on the show, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.